Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Like most technology, body cameras for the police is a two-edged sword. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. It can be misused. Now we're looking at new technology that is evolving from Taser. And of course, these are the people that gave us those wonderful devices where the police can whip you into submission electronically. They're also very big in the body cam industry. And they're looking at bringing body cams that can do instant face recognition and can hook into facial databases. This is an article today from Vocative, and they say the police body cam industry is bringing us new powers and also new privacy concerns. And this controversial technology that is bolstered by the need to hold police accountable after numerous high-profile killings of unarmed black citizens. And look, let's get over this idea that it's just black lives that matter, okay? Let's understand, and black people need to understand this as well, unless you make this a concern of the entire community, you're not going to see this solved. We have to understand it's not just black people who are being killed by police unnecessarily. That is something that we have to look at as the entire community and hold them responsible. But let's move on to this actual technology. Taser says a newly formed division will develop AI-powered tech specifically aimed at law enforcement using automation and machine learning algorithms to let cops search for people and for objects in video footage captured in the on-body camera systems. Okay, now let's hope that this is completely accurate. If they're going to look at you and determine that you got a gun and you're dangerous, or they take a look at your face and they misread that, identify you as a wanted criminal on the run or a terrorist, that could cost you your life. And of course, we've already seen this with some of this wonderful technology. Surveilling a parking lot, noticing a guy that is walking around a car, then stoops down and disappears from the car. They think, oh, they call the police, say, we have a auto theft in progress. They get there with guns drawn, and it turns out the guy is just changing his tire. That is what false positives can do. But then they go on to talk about how they can tag you and classify you. They can use keywords to search through video footage, just like they'd look for news articles on Google, allowing them to quickly redact footage and zoom in on relevant elements. That is the issue, folks, to quickly redact footage. That's the problem with body cam footage. The fact that we don't always get the footage from the police. They inadvertently lost it or erased it, or it disappeared from the locker room. That seems to happen when they're in the wrong. Now, when they're in the right, yeah, it's there to back them up. But when they do something wrong, they somehow seem to redact it. And technology that lets them do that more efficiently is even more concerning. And they say a Department of Justice study found that at least 9 different body camera manufacturers currently support facial recognition in their products or have the ability to add it later, and that fully half of American adults have their faces entered into a law enforcement database. Now, if you think this is a problem, I don't think this is nearly as much of a problem as what we're going to see happening with our automobiles when they join the Internet of Things and when our highways become spyways. We now have, and they're very eager about this is from a trade publication talking about how the DOT is proposing a rule to mandate V2V technology. That means vehicle to vehicle. Cars talking to each other. But of course, they're not just going to be talking to each other. They're going to be talking to the entire infrastructure, to the roads, to the traffic lights, to the government, telling it where you are, how fast you're driving, and other aspects of what you're doing. Talk about an instant ticket right there that they give you at that moment. When we look at where this is going to go, just think for a moment about this article we saw earlier this week about an Ohio village that was ordered to repay $3 million. Now, this is from the Daily Mail, so they call it a village. It's just a small town. And this is a county judge who told New Miami in Ohio that they had to return this money because they were told a couple of years ago, no, what you're doing is in violation of the Constitution in Ohio, so you're going to have to return that money. What they were getting was 45,000 tickets in just 15 months. That's 3,000 tickets a month on average. Or if you break it down to a daily average, these speed cameras were generating 100 tickets a day. If you look at it from the revenue standpoint, they were getting $200,000 a month or $6,700 a day. That's the kind of abuse that you're seeing. You don't think they're going to do that once they're able to do that with a vehicle to infrastructure spyway instead of a highway? Now, the manufacturers are very excited about this. Of course, this is going to be new black boxes that they can sell to you, that they can mandate that you put in your vehicle. And so this is a new profit center for them. And then they talk about how this was issued back in December of 2016, mid-December. They've been talking about this for a couple of years. They finally proposed a detailed rule, and that's the way our laws are made, folks. Forget Schoolhouse Rock. The way your laws are made is you have some unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats propose rules, and they put them out there somewhere on, presumably on a bulletin board in Washington, D.C., where nobody sees them. And if you don't respond to it, or even if you do, they're not required to pay any attention to your response. The only people who they're going to pay any attention to are going to be people that they call stakeholders. In other words, people who pay to play the Washington game. This is the problem that we have over and over again, whether it's the EPA or whether it's the Department of Transportation. All of these bureaucracies make the laws. Congress doesn't make the law anymore. They don't want to. That's why Nancy Pelosi said, well, we have to pass Obamacare so we can find out what's in it. So and we had a similar statement from Paul Ryan about another piece of legislation. They know they're not putting the details in there. They know they're not crafting the rules. What they're doing is they're handing over broad powers to a bureaucracy, which will pass the rules. Those rules will not be considered to be laws. So when you violate those rules, you will not get the protections of the Fourth and the Sixth Amendment. You will not have a right to confront your accusers, to have a trial, to bring witnesses in your defense. You will not be protected against excessive fines because, of course, this is just a civil rule that you broke. But now they're telling us this is going to be done to, quote unquote, save lives. Now, when we look at the potential for abuse, this is far beyond writing multitudes of traffic tickets. Remember, 5 years ago, when now disgraced David Petraeus was head of the CIA. And Wired magazine talked about how he was bragging at an In-Q-Tel summit. And of course, this is the venture capital firm for the CIA. We have a dark government that is even involved in handing out funds to preferred spy industries. That's what In-Q-Tel is. Nevertheless, he's at a summit. He's talking about the Internet of Things. He's very excited about it. He said, we will spy on you through your dishwasher. Well, they're going to spy on you through your car because your car is going to be joining the Internet of Things sooner than you realize. And what he was saying at the time, he said, transformational is an overused word, but I do believe it properly applies to these technologies. Boy, it really does apply when you're talking about spying on people through their cars, through the highway that they travel on, doesn't it? He says, particularly their effect on the clandestine trade. All those new online devices are a treasure trove of data, says Wired, if you are a person of interest. But of course, this was back in the pre-Snowden days, when people thought, oh, person of interest, that must mean somebody who has really done something. No, now we know that all of us are persons of interest because they have to get data from all of us. They have to get our metadata in order to put together their geospatial intelligence network, their human domain analytics, their activity-based intelligence, so they can master the human domain. They want to be able to look at all of this data from everybody, so everybody is a person of interest. I hope you learned that with all the Snowden leaks. We now should all know that, even those people in the public who were sleeping comfortably 5 years ago. And they went on to say, once upon a time, spies had to put a bug in your chandelier to hear your conversation. But now with the rise of the smart home, you'll be sending tagged, geolocated data that a spy agency can intercept in real time when you use the lighting app on your phone to adjust your living room's ambience. Well, these were the quaint days of 5 years ago. Things are getting much worse, much more quickly. David Petraeus said that these household spy devices have changed our notions of secrecy. Yes, they have. They're taking it away. And, you know, there will be no privacy. There will be no freedom of mobility if we don't stop this. And, of course, when they talk about this, it's interesting to look at the actual documents from the Department of Transportation. When they talk about the vehicle to infrastructure issues, they talk about how it is going to affect the poor and the minorities. This is an environmental justice consideration document. This is how this bureaucracy works. And they come down, forget about the Sixth Amendment, forget about the Fourth Amendment, forget about any of this stuff. How does it affect the poor and the minorities? Not how does it affect your Bill of Rights as an individual? And that brings us back to where we started. If we're going to only look at these body cams from the standpoint, are black people being affected by this? We have to understand everyone is being affected by this. And we will stand together or we will hang separately. That's it for tonight's news. Thank you for joining us. Join us again on Monday at 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for the Infowars Nightly News.
In case you haven't heard, Infowars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. Infowars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the Infowars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. Infowars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the Infowars store that are only available for Infowars Prime subscribers. That's Infowars Prime at Infowars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.